So now this is what I do. I speak to people all over the world about mental wellness, mental illness, suicide prevention, and addiction and recovery. So I want to give you a good baseline for depression. So let me say this like super clear so the people in the back can hear. Depression is a medical condition. Depression is a medical illness. It is a diagnosis. If somebody has a diagnosis of depression, you might have heard clinical depression. It's called major depressive disorder. So I'm one of the 51 million Americans who has this diagnosis. My personal diagnosis is major depressive disorder with schizophrenic tendencies, which means I hear voices in my head. So what? Like today, I'm like, so what? Once upon a time, I was terrified. I was terrified to tell you that because you're going to put me back in a mental hospital or in a psychiatric ward. It's just a diagnosis. I just have a diagnosis. This is the love of my life. Well, actually, I guess my husband is also sort of the love of my life. I'm a gay. I forgot to mention I'm a gay. I'm a gay. I'm a gay. I want to give you things to do. So I call them anxiety wheels. Like, you know when you get anxious and the little wheels start spinning right there? Like, big wheels keep on turning. You know, like those wheels right there? But like not in a Proud Mary kind of way. Like, please stop spinning, anxiety. Like those kind of wheels. I want to share with you some things that you can begin to do today. You can do these things today if your anxiety wheel starts. I'm going to give you 4 things you can do. The first one is cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing is the act of changing your perception about your current reality, your current lived experience. Like, you can't control this thing in front of you, but you can control this. I usually use a different example. I have a perfect one tonight. We could not, for love of money, get my laptop to connect to your system. For love of money. Like, nothing. Tried everything in the world. Nothing was working. Jump jobs were working. Nothing was working. That was stressful to me. On the inside, I was like, ah. On the outside, I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll talk without slides. Like, we're just going to do this thing. And the act of keeping my brain centered with what was going on inside, that is cognitive. This is not like fake happiness, toxic. I have no time for any of that stuff. Like, there's some poopy things going on in life right now. So I'm not encouraging you to be like, oh, this is great. No, like, that was a stressful experience. But it's very much like a duck. Underwater is doing this, up top, cognitive reframing. I am choosing how to react to this situation. Kind of a bonus here is the way you talk to yourself. I'm going to bet that you say things to yourself you wouldn't say to anybody else. I'm going to bet you say things like, I'm an idiot, or I will never get this, or like, what am I doing here? Why am I surrounded by these? I'm the dumbest person in this room. I'm going to bet you say those things to yourself. Let me talk about the brain. When you say those things to yourself, you have this thing called the reticular activating system. It hears you. And then your brain tries to prove that to yourself. These are some basic symptoms of depression. How many of you, over the past year, have experienced one or more of these things? Yeah, probably like all of you. So what's so interesting to me about the pandemic is that the rest of the world got to experience what it's like to be in my head. You, unfortunately, got to see what it feels like to have this on the regular. But for someone like me, and I guarantee with a room like this, there are dozens of people who share this diagnosis. I don't need you to disclose, but I want you to know I'm standing with you. There's a big difference in depression and sadness. And it drives me bonkers when I'm talking to people on college campuses and they're like, oh, I just failed that test. I'm so depressed. And I'm like, huh, are you really? Or are you sad? Because I bet you might be sad. Or like, oh, I'm so depressed, I got dumped. You're depressed? Really? Or are you sad? Because I bet you might be sad. I'll talk to the guys for a second specifically, or those who identify as a male. We specifically don't say the word sad. We say I'm pissed, I'm angry, or we say I'm depressed. We need to start saying I'm sad. If you're sad, say you're sad. Be sad. Drew, so you look like a guy probably never been dumped, right? No. Yes. Okay. Well, Drew, since you've never been dumped, let me tell you what that's like. Because I'm not sure if you, just imagine dating me. Like that's a lot, right? A lot to date. A lot. So I've been dumped a lot. Drew, when you do get dumped one day down the road, I highly encourage like Grey's Anatomy on loop, like chocolate ice cream, like spitzing, and then eventually you'll be like, oh, I'm fine. I'll go out and date again. When you need to know the episode, let me know. Like Meredith and Christina, I'm each other's person. It's a big deal, right? Okay, that's sadness. When you can self-care your way out of it,